Most GMs throw hundreds of NPCs at their players and none of them stick. Let me show you the only 7 you'll ever need. I'm going to show you the 7 core types of NPCs that show up in every great campaign. The merchant, the mentor, the rival, and more. These NPCs aren't just useful, they are your GM toolbox for every situation, every session, no matter how unprepared you are. And even though the last one might seem like a bit of a joke, use it and your players will be delighted. If you're ready to level up your NPCs, let's dive in. I'm Josh, Creator Bard. Welcome back to the tavern where we tell the best stories together. The most common and the most overlooked NPC in all TTRPGs is the merchant.
Trinkets, odds and ends, that sort of thing.
I'm talking about blacksmiths, innkeepers, potion vendors, shady fence dealers, apothecaries, magical items traders. Anyone who trades goods or services in exchange for coin or favors. These can be some of your most useful NPCs, but so many GMs I see end up treating them like background noise. Just a price list with a name tag. But here's the thing, these NPCs are your world builders. Why? Because your players interact with them constantly. Whether they're buying a room, restocking gear, or trying to offload the tooth of an ancient shadow serpent. Every service provider is a chance to show off culture, class, politics, and plenty of flavor. Think about it. What does the shop look like? Is the barkeep kind, greedy, traumatized by the last adventuring party that took out her back wall? And just as important, what do they want? What's important in their culture, their region, their family, or just to them personally? Maybe the innkeeper is overcharging because he's trying to pay off a debt to the local thieves guild. Or the potion brewer won't sell healing potions to the party because they lost their daughter on the battlefield and blame adventurers. If you watched the last video, we talked about this a little more in depth, applying that 3-question formula to building NPCs. If you haven't seen that, go watch this video here and come back. Still here? Great. Okay, once you begin applying that 3-question formula, what do they want? How do they show it? What's their unforgettable trait? Then even your throwaway vendors are still part of a living world. The more merchants and service NPCs you treat like people, the more your world feels real. Next time your party hits the town, don't just say, yeah, there's a general store. Say, you see a half-elf with a monocle polishing a crossbow with surgical care. He glances up and says, "Please don't touch anything unless you intend to buy it. Especially the basilisk egg. Yes, it's real." That's it. One moment of personality. Now they're not just buying weapons or rations, they're meeting someone in the world. Now, you think merchants are useful? Well, if merchants are the world builders, the next NPC type is a story builder, literally driving the plot along. Everyone knows what a quest giver is. They're the ones that say, "Hey, adventurers, come help! The mine is haunted and my son's trapped inside." But a great quest giver doesn't just hand out jobs, they create urgency, personal stakes, and emotional momentum for the party. They can be nobles with too much power, villagers with too little power, mysterious figures offering coin and cryptic riddles. But the best quest givers are more than a megaphone for your next plot hook. Though they should be that as well. They have their own goals, motives, and sometimes agendas that they're not telling you. Say a quest giver wants revenge for a family member lost in a dungeon. Well, they might hire the party to clear it, but neglect to mention that it's actually a trap for someone else. Now your party's in a moral mess and the NPCs suddenly matter more than the quest itself. The difference between a boring quest and a legendary one? Well, it's not the reward, it's the relationship to the world, the story, and the NPCs. So when you build quest givers, build them with desire, subtext, and a bit of character. You're not just running a campaign, you're telling a story that your players are going to talk about for years. So merchants give supplies or services, quest givers give plot and story hooks. But what happens when players need answers on their quest or need to know where the shopkeepers are located? Well, this next NPC type doesn't deal in gold, they deal in secrets. Yes, the librarians, sages, spies, black market informants, retired adventurers, ancient spirits, and drunken prophets. I am, of course, referring to information brokers. They know the things your players need, but they don't give it to them for free, or sometimes at all. The power of an information broker is that they hold the key to something. Whether that key opens a door, a mystery, or a trap is entirely up to you. An information broker's goal or desire is usually some type of control, influence, or leverage. That's why they're driven to the work that they are. Knowledge is power, and power always comes at a price. Information brokers force your players to make choices. Will they trust the strange old man who says he knows how to kill a dragon? Will they do a favor for the spy who claims to have a list of every noble's secret sins? And what if the broker's lying or only telling part of the truth? Well, that's where the fun begins, but I'll leave all that to you. Information brokers create tension, intrigue, and depth in your world because every time they speak, your players lean in. Remember, these NPCs aren't quest givers, they're quest shapers. And the best ones may leave your players wondering if they were ever on the right path to begin with. Now, what happens when your players are outmatched, out of their depth, or just out of hope? Well, that's where the next NPC steps in, not to steal the spotlight, but to light the path forward. The ally or mentor archetypes are the NPCs who believe in the players before the players believe in the players. They've been where the party's headed, they've made mistakes, they've survived things that should have killed them. Or maybe they just see something in the player characters that make them believe. They might be the old knight with the busted shield, the grumpy wizard who's done with adventuring, the retired rogue who watches the city gates like nothing surprises her anymore, or the new upstart who doesn't have a name for themselves but believes the party is the way forward. But here's the challenge. They are not the heroes of the story. If your mentor is always solving the party's problems, or if your ally is always bailing them out even when they don't need it, you've gone too far. So what is their role? Well, they give just enough, a clue, a technique, a warning, and then they step back. Let your players choose the path forward, whether to follow the lead of the ally or the mentor, or whether to ignore it. Most mentors want to pass something on, and most allies just want to help because they think their values align with your own. Sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's practical. Allies and mentors that do this become emotional anchors. Your party might not always agree with them, they might argue, but when the chips are down, the ally and the mentor both believe in the players anyway. And that hits pretty hard. A well-written ally or mentor makes your players feel like they've stepped into a living world where people care, even if they've stopped hoping. Now, when the party, with the help of an ally or mentor, is on a quest, what if they find out that someone else wants the same thing they do and is willing to fight for it? Or worse, that they got there before the party did. These next NPCs aren't necessarily enemies, but they're not friends either. These are something far more personal. Unlike villains, rivals aren't out to destroy the world. They're out to beat the players to it. They want the treasure, the title, the recognition. Sometimes they even want the same love interest or moral victory. The key to a great rival is shared goals with opposing values. Like Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter series.
Scared, Potter. You wish.
They're not evil, they're competitive, they're ambitious, and that competition forces your players to define who they are. Rivals force introspection, the same way Draco forced Harry to kind of decide who he was. They make your players think, are we really doing this the right way? And even better, they can change over time. Maybe the rival starts cruel and mocking, begins to respect the party after they save her life. Maybe one of these days they team up, or the party has to choose whether or not to save them. Or you can go a little bit lighter with rivals. Give the party just enough to motivate them, but without something super prolonged or personal. A bard who keeps stealing their thunder in the taverns. A merchant who always undercuts their prices with a smug grin. But no matter how serious or silly, rivals are going to drive the story, but they do so by forcing the players to drive the story. And when a rival becomes an unexpected ally or betrays the party in the final hour, that's the stuff that makes campaigns legendary. But if we push even further against the players, we realize that every good story needs someone to stop. Every great story needs a villain. Villains and antagonists are more than monsters in nice clothes. Anything can be an enemy. But a villain is someone that's so dastardly. Not because they're not redeemable, likely because they are. Whether it's a tyrant, a cult leader, cursed hero, or corrupted mentor, what makes a villain memorable isn't just their power, though as Comedic Relief shows, that makes for a pretty memorable entrance.
I'm so sorry, my lord. She's an unbeliever outside my control.
Try again.
Also evidenced by Comedic Relief is that what makes a villain truly memorable is their purpose.
I wish it could be so. I do. But the Moon Maiden did not intervene when my life was dismantled piece by piece.
That's not just a villain, that is a philosophical crisis. Great villains challenge more than the party's strength. They challenge their values. And the best ones force the players to ask, what would I do in their place? And that brings us to the final type of NPC, the one everyone forgets until they steal the entire show. The Comedic Relief NPC isn't there to drive the story forward. They're not there to promote drama or give a service to the players. They're there to give your players a break and sometimes a surprise. But don't mistake them for just a joke. Done right, these NPCs can become the most beloved characters in your world.
They're the goblin cook who only makes soup.
The noble with no indoor voice.
The wizard whose spells always have unintended side effects.
And every time they show up, your players light up. Comic Relief works best when it's unexpected. Not random, but somewhat out of left field. I actually made an entire video on comedy in D&D, so feel free to go watch that when you're done with this video, because occasionally, comedy and the Comedic Relief NPC turns out to be way more important than anyone realized. Humor creates contrast. It makes your dark moments darker, your victories sweeter, and your world feel real. And when your players come back for session 97 and ask, hey, is Boblin gonna be in this town? You'll know you did it right. Every great game is built on great characters, and with these 7 NPC types in your pocket, you'll never be caught flat-footed again. But if you want to go even deeper with step-by-step NPC creation, 50 pre-built characters, and a roll-and-go NPC generator for improv on the fly, the Bard's Book of Characters is waiting for you. It is in my online store, marked down by 30% for a limited time. The link is in my bio and in the pinned comment on this video. So if the video helped you, the book will change your prep forever. Let's make characters worth remembering. Until next time, gotta roll.